So here's 5 tips about gray zone warfare that most people don't know. So tip number 1 is to stop throwing away your earmuffs, or if you don't have any, be sure to pick some up, because everybody knows how loud the helicopter is in this game. Just standing around at the base can just be overwhelming sometimes, and it's just so loud. But what people don't realize is the earmuffs will muffle that sound, and it makes it way easier to talk to people in the base and just way less aggravating dealing with the helicopter. Now, some people I know like to take their pair off right before they get on a helicopter, but with these being so easy to find in the game, I just leave mine on, and then as soon as the helicopter takes off after dropping me off, that's when I put them in my backpack. Alright, so tip number 2 is the fact that you do not have to be at the landing zone to call in the helicopter. Personally, what I like to do is as soon as I complete the mission, I call in my bird for exfil. For example, anytime I'm doing a mission at the bunker, I call for chopper as soon as I'm done with that mission. And that means that by the time I end up at the LZ, the chopper will be arriving as well. And not having to wait minimizes the chances of running into an ambush or landing zone campers. Alright, and then tip number 3 is when you go to a new area, be sure to explore, because chances are there's multiple landing zones around that area. And if you go out of your way to take the time to look for them, you might unlock one early. For example, I had a mission to get up here to the sawmill, and I came in at Lima 2, and on the way, not only did I unlock Lima 1, but instead of heading straight toward the objective, I went around the town and I unlocked Delta 2. And the landing zones are pretty obvious if you take the time to look at the map. Like, I figured there was one over here just because of the way it was shaped and you had the roads coming in. And then the same thing when I finally arrived to the sawmill and unlocked Echo 2. I looked at the map and I was like, this looks like a good spot for a landing zone, and that's when I unlocked Echo 1. So always make sure that you're exploring a new area when you arrive. Alright, now tip number 4 might be a no-brainer to some people, but some people haven't realized this yet. You can actually move around and do stuff when you are healing, such as repack your magazines. So one of the things I like to do, especially if I'm popping something that's going to take a long time, like using my surgical kit, is go ahead and top off on my magazines as well. That way when I'm healed up, I'm ready to get right back into the fight. And then tip number 5 is this is not Tarkov. You are not always going to be strapped for cash. So when you go into the mission, make sure you go in completely decked out for any encounter you're going to run into, whether it's PvE or PvP. Load up on magazines, make sure you're taking plenty of ammo, make sure you're taking food, make sure you're taking blood, because let's be perfectly honest, most of the stuff you're going to run into on these missions when you're looting isn't really worthwhile, so might as well not worry about space as well. And then remember, if something does happen, you always have a chance to get back to your body and get your loot again. And even if you can't, it doesn't cost much money to get kitted out. And as long as you are completing missions, you will never really run out of cash. So if you made it this far in the video, I think you deserve a bonus, so I have 2 extra tips for you real quick. The first is if you're aiming down the sights and you hold Alt, it holds your breath and makes you way more stable. And then if you're using a scope, you can actually change through the magnification levels by using the mouse wheel. But that's it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you have any tips of your own, be sure to drop them in the comments. Until then, I'll see you next time.